Chapter 671. Holy Mother 1. Now then, let's bring the Great Mountain Holy Mother here. Glass Peacock licks their lips and reaches out a hand. Wait, hold on. I briefly bat away Glass Peacock's hand and turn my attention to Oh Yun Sok. Since this is related to Oh Hai Seo, I should let Oh Yun Sok know as well. Just as I am about to tell Oh Yun Sok about Glass Peacock. Suddenly, the connection with the information body over there weakens, and for an instant, through the information body's perspective, it feels like time itself around Oh Yun Sok and Mount Sumeru slows down. This is, what's wrong? What happened? Glass Peacock looks at my expression and asks. The flow of time has changed. Is that so? I did notice communication with the main body isn't going smoothly. Aren't you worried? If the connection with the main body is lost, yourself could become independent and separate from it. You're worried about that kind of thing? Sorry, but I don't really care. In the first place, aren't you kind of similar? You've got quite a fragmented self, don't you? And yet, you still maintain your ego called Seo Un-yun, quite well. Glass Peacock creates a throne of glass on the spot, sits on it, and crosses their legs as they speak. That's probably because all your fragmented selves believe they are part of the existence known as Seo Un-yun, is it not? Even if they're divided, that division itself maintains the identity of Seo Un-yun. It's the same for me. I've lived a long time, and my mind has split a few times, but as long as I enjoy dual cultivation with my split selves, they always end up being completely on my side. It's simple. Even if I split and become two, I don't obsess over who the main body is, and instead just accept both as members who make up the being called Glass Peacock. There's no point in deciding who's real or fake. All are constituents of what makes the real. I find myself fully agreeing with that statement. Come to think of it, the reason I've remained sane even after starting heaven and earth dual cultivation is also because of that logic. My mind has long since been fragmented. But even with the fragmentation, it only added 1 or 2 more egos to the several quadrillion that were already divided in the first place. But even if they're split, all those egos are still me. To be precise, each ego is a part that composes me. In a way, I may already be something akin to a nation or group in and of myself. Well, that's also why I want to do it with you. You're a lunatic too, after all. You're saying you want to cure me as well. No, there's no need to cure you. You are a being similar to me, you've got a mental state that is either equal to or superior to mine, and the soundness of your mind exceeds even my own. If anything, I should be the one receiving treatment from you. Just imagining myself being held in your arms, throwing a tantrum while receiving treatment, it's thrilling. The lower body of the female form Glass Peacock begins to swell, and both I and Kim Yi flinch and step back at the same time. Tuck, Tududuk. Having completely formed a lower body, Glass Peacock shifts into a male form and, suppressing the swelling, continues speaking. Of course, I'm more into giving treatment than receiving, so for now, I just want to make contact with the Great Mountain Holy Mother. You mean to heal the scars in Oh Hai Seo's heart? No, I mean this one's mental illness. Mental illness? You mean being born with faint emotions? No, it's not that. From what I can tell, the Great Mountain Holy Mother has a severe delusional disorder. Delusional disorder? What in the world does that mean? Talk of the lizard race, Earth's secret organizations, or the soap company's dark dealings all seems quite credible. You're saying this one has delusional disorder? In what way? I don't know exactly. But, as someone who has copulated with living beings numbering in the hundreds of millions, trillions, even quadrillions, and shared intercourse with tens of thousands of true immortals, I can instinctively tell. This one is clearly a patient, a pitiful sentient being in need of treatment and salvation. Tuck, Tudududuk. Glass Peacock shifts into the form of a small green race like Jangik and starts tearing at both their shoulders while laughing. They don't look like the appearance of the familiar Jangik, but more like a small green race version of Glass Peacock, appearing utterly despicable and greedy. So, I will personally end the Great Mountain Holy Mother's wandering. Because this is something only I can do. I look at Glass Peacock with a dumbfounded expression, and after maintaining the form of the small green race for a while, they shift into the form of a half-human, half-spider race like Yuwa and speak. Anyway, hurry up and hand over the Great Mountain Holy Mother. I need to connect to her mind and perform a diagnosis. Rather than handing over the physical body, we will use a method to connect to her mind all at once. If I were to hand over Ohai Seo's physical body, she would be turned into a complete mess by Glass Peacock in an instant. Even though it's Ohai Seo, seeing Glass Peacock acting like that makes me worried, so I decide to avoid that. Well, what a pity. Without thoroughly examining the body and spirit together, it will be difficult to find a clue for treatment. To think I won't get to fulfill my personal desires. I wanted to try this and that. First, switching the Great Mountain Holy Mother's physical gender back and forth and, while they sleep, all over their body. I shudder and shake my head as I observe Glass Peacock's inner thoughts through Araya consciousness. Glass Peacock is imagining things so terrifying that even ordinary true immortals wouldn't even fathom it, and just being exposed to those horrific thoughts makes my brain feel like it's burning. Absolutely not. Join hands with me and we'll approach Ohai Seo together and, the flow of time still hasn't returned to normal. I need to get Yun Sok Hung Nim's permission first. The flow of time over in the outer sea is still accelerated by hundreds of millions of times, so the information body on Oh Yun Sok's side continues to perceive as if time is frozen. Why would you need permission to treat someone? Besides, we have no idea how long it'll take for the time flow to return to normal in the outer sea. And this isn't even the full treatment, it's just a diagnosis. Well, fine, I can't wait anymore. I won't touch the Great Mountain Holy Mother's physical body, so just link my consciousness and let me connect to her. As if they can't delay any longer, Glass Peacock reaches out abruptly to Kim Yeon, who is specialized in connecting consciousness, and I hurriedly intervene between the two. Talk. With my left hand grabbing Kim Yeon's and my right hand grabbing Glass Peacock's, I let out a sigh and speak. Quote. Fine, but just do a pure diagnosis. Oh, ook, hggk. I'm holding hands. This sensation of the hand, uuhhk. The movement of the muscles. The history of tempering and refinement. Uik. As soon as they grab my hand, Glass Peacock sobs with overwhelming emotion, and I sigh deeply and focus my mind. The thought of having to spend hundreds of millions of years in the outer sea with this lunatic is already starting to feel overwhelming and distant. Impermanence sword. Wonderfully mysterious fortress. Kuriririk. Kim Yeon's consciousness thread connects to mine, and mine connects to Glass Peacock's mental domain. What is this consciousness? Is this the consciousness of a swordsman, honed to the extreme? A sword is ramming into my consciousness. Please just shut up. I shout at the noisy Glass Peacock, and Kim Yeon does her best to ignore them while connecting to Ohai Seo's mind as well. Thus, using Kim Yeon's consciousness as the medium, we enter into the inner domain of Ohai Seo's consciousness. Ho ho, ho 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 ho, ho ho ho. I open my eyes to an unpleasant sound. Is this, inside Ohai Seo's consciousness? Within Ohai Seo's mind, an extremely disturbing laughter echoes. And, for some reason, I flinch, realizing that the inside of her mind feels incredibly familiar. It is a vastly different landscape compared to when I connected to Kim Yeon's consciousness through the Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace. Is it because my realm has risen that I am seeing areas I couldn't before? This scenery, it's an endless sea of chaos. That's right, Ohai Seo's mental domain is incredibly similar to the landscape of the outer sea. It is when I glance around with a startled look. What do you think? Does something feel strange? Glass Peacock and Kim Yeon appear nearby. Glass Peacock, taking the form of a female human, crosses their arms and smiles. Quote. It's like the outer sea. Ha ha ha, right, it really is, isn't it? As you know, a living being's mental domain is generally divided into the surface, external mental domain and the internal mental domain. When dividing by the spirit Hunpo, the internal domain is the Hun, and the external domain can be said to be the Po. I nod. This is something I've understood well ever since I entered Kim Yeon's consciousness through the Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace during the 14th cycle. And just like this, the Po part of a living being, when accessed at a high realm, takes on a form very similar to the outer sea. So, true immortals who walk the immortal Tao of the mind, or those who refine such immortal arts, have proposed such a theory. That this outer sea and even Mount Sumeru are all within someone's mental world. Quote. And, in the case of the Har tribe, especially someone at the peak like the Northern Heavenly Venerable True Martial Great Emperor Hyeon Mu. In their case, the Hun and Po are completely integrated and begin to influence the world. That's right. In the case of the Har tribe, their internal heart essence and surface consciousness. In other words, what's called Hun and Po, completely unify to manifest their own heart essence and thereby create their own entering heavens. And, upon observing Hyeon Mu and the other members of the Heart tribe, many true immortals have proposed a certain hypothesis. That this world is someone's mental world. That the outer sea is the Hun, the interior of Mount Sumeru is the Po, and that when the two become one, this world will take proper form, and the owner of this mental world that is our world will awaken. Quote. I let out a silent sigh at those words. This world is the inside of that fetus I saw. Glass Peacock calls it a hypothesis, but I can't help but imagine quite a few things from their words. If, just as Glass Peacock says, the outer and inner seas integrate and manifest, and the one who can be called the owner of this world awakens, then could that be considered the birth of that fetus? What in the world is this place? While I'm lost in thought, Glass Peacock sheds their human form and transforms into an appearance closer to their main body. Get on for now. In any case, a living being's po is far more crude and simple than the actual outer sea. Entering the internal heart essence, in other words, the hun is much easier. As long as they get on my back, while we're flying together, After reading Glass Peacock's wicked thoughts through Indra's net, I transform into the form of a candle dragon and place Kim Yeon on my head as I speak. We'll fly ourselves. Please guide the way. HMPH, to reject goodwill. You're not very male-like. Then is it female-like? Foolish. Must the opposite of male always be female? What a narrow-minded way of thinking. No, I mean, never mind. Let's just go. I shake my head, unable to follow Glass Peacock's train of thought. In any case, Glass Peacock takes the lead in front of us and begins to fly through the chaos within Ohaiseo's Po. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord regains awareness. What was that just now? I saw something incredibly ominous. Something related to the origin of Enders. And, it was definitely something that could be referred to as an object. Are the Enders, beings that are artificially created by someone? As countless theories and hypotheses flood her mind, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord looks around within Seo Eun-yun's memories. This place is the head realm, above the heavenly void furnace. Surveying the surroundings, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord spots Seo Eun-yun and his group still unconscious on the ground. Before long, Seo Eun-yun regains consciousness, and after a bit of bickering with Jaeon Myung-hoon, the events on Ascension Path proceed quickly. Then, the moment when the guides of the Enders begin to appear. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord looks over each of the guides with a glint flashing in her eyes. It is already well known among the Radiance 8 immortals that the Enders are accompanied by guides. The guide of the one called Jaeon Myung-hoon, Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder Sect. Perhaps because she has returned to the head realm, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord is able to read a portion of the fate imposed upon them, even though it's within Seo Eun-yun's memory. The guide of the one called Kong Min-hee, Black Ghost Valley. The guide of the one called Oh Yun-sok, Azure Heaven Creation Sect. A guide does not necessarily refer to an entity. It is simply a term for any and all beings upon whom the fate to guide the Enders has been placed. The guide of the one called Kim Yeon. And, as the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord observes the Enders setting foot in the head realm for the first time, she is able to learn many things she did not know before. Extraordinary pattern law talent, Bong Myung. They've arranged things quite delicately. Do they want to interfere with the Ender no matter what? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord clicks her tongue, sighing at the schemes of Liberation Supreme Deity Bong Myung. However, if, in the past, she would have coldly analyzed Bong Myung's plans and formulated a strategy to destroy them. Now, it is different. But is this liberation Bong Myung seeks truly wrong? Radiance Hall has long blocked the Supreme Deity's attempts to challenge the head realm in the name of liberation. Because they have believed that a world outside does not exist. However, after the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord personally observed Earth, her perspective changed. If this world really is nothing more than a fence, and an outside world does exist, then wouldn't suppressing that be contrary to the banner of freedom we claim to uphold? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord finds herself lost in confusion, unable to determine what the truth really is. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord proceeds to confirm the guides of the other Enders. The guide of Kim Young-hoon. The entire martial realm of the head realm. The guide of Seo Eun-yun. The entire devilish path of the head realm, is it? And, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord turns her gaze toward Ohai-seo. What is that? It's strange. The guide of an Ender always refers to all beings who bear the fate of guiding them. Therefore, a guide could certainly be an organization or an event, but it can never be an individual. However, Ohai Seos is highly unusual. The guide is an individual. The immortal art, tainted soul filling the heavens. Or, the being known as Seo Weol. Only that being has been assigned the role of Ohai Seos, guide. Just how could something like that be possible? A guide that's a single individual. It is not simply a matter of the function of tainted soul filling the heavens covering the entire sun and moon heavenly domain. Fate itself cannot function that way, and therefore such a phenomenon should not exist in the first place. Just how can something like this be possible? An ender with this kind of guide, is it the first since Silver Basket? If one considers that Silver Basket appeared during the early days of Radiance Hall, when the heavenly venerable of the underworld had just risen to true immortality, then it truly is a distant memory. Just what is to become of this generation's enders? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, in a complicated mood, continues collecting information about the enders and begins to follow the life of Seo Eun-yun. Seo Eun-yun's very first life. The time period he refers to as the zeroth cycle. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord watches Seo Eun-yun live an ordinary life, grow old toward an ordinary death, and lets out a silent sigh. Single quote. He didn't even meet his guide. Fate is absolute, but at the same time, it is not. Though fate undoubtedly exists, if a being is too weak to endure it, they may die before ever fulfilling it. Seo Eun-yun was growing old toward his death as an ordinary mortal before even properly encountering his guide. Watching this, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord feels a pang of pity. Poor thing, he'll probably go on like this, and eventually meet a proper devilish path practitioner and extend his lifespan. Then, one day, on the day the daughter of the Jew family brings over a basket of boiled potatoes, Seo Eun-yun dies. Single quote. Single quote. Seo Eun-yun's short life ends just like that. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord is bewildered. But immediately after, single quote. Clang. In the next moment, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord feels as if the sun and moon of the head realm are gazing directly at the place where Seo Eun-yun died. Light from the head realm beams down intensely on the spot of Seo Eun-yun's death. Crying. At the same time, as the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord regains her senses, she finds herself transported to a familiar place. Above the heavenly void furnace. And if I look at the time point engraved into the heavenly void furnace. Sensing the ascension path, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord's eyes gleam. And soon, she feels goosebumps break out all over her entire body. This. What is this? Could it be? Seo Eun-yun's true ability is. In a daze, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord stumbles back and falls to the ground as she sees Seo Eun-yun getting slapped by Jeon Myung-hoon. This is a power superior even to the authority of the heavenly void furnace. An authority more on par with the wheel of the underworld. Only then does she realize why such strange scenes exist in her mind. Why emotions she herself doesn't recognize have suddenly emerged within her. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord instinctively understands. It's not just 10,000 years. Seo Eun-yun's real age must be unimaginably more vast. At the same time, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord realizes what kind of trap she has fallen into and descends into confusion. And no, if this is how it is, I won't be able to escape within 100 years, as I told Pearl Jade. Even conservatively, if Seo Eun-yun has gone through regressions and is at least 100,000 years old, it won't be 100 years but could be 1,000. Rain, dew and great forest will go wild. This can't go on. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord clenches her fists as she feels Seo Eun-yun's memories and the vivid emotions contained within them. The values Seo Eun-yun embedded into these memories are abnormal. To the point the characters inside are practically the same as Seo Eun-yun's own personalities. If I keep watching Seo Eun-yun's life play out over 100,000 years like this, I don't know what kind of influence he might have on me. Moreover, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord grits her teeth as she recalls the vivid emotions surfacing more and more clearly in her heart. They aren't distinct. Like an illusionary dream, memories with Seo Eun-yun along with several scenes rise from within her chest. If Seo Eun-yun is someone who directly shared memories with me, then I stagger. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord stumbles and collapses on the spot. I'll be consumed by the existence known as Seo Eun-yun. And that's just assuming Seo Eun-yun's real age is merely around 100,000 years. If, in the worst-case scenario, Seo Eun-yun's true age exceeds 10 million years, I might be brainwashed by Seo Eun-yun. Within the original memories of Seo Eun-yun that are virtually the same as the canvas of myriad forms and connections, the sword spear Heavenly Lord crumbles in despair. This is the very function of the canvas of myriad forms and connections that Seo Weol once feared the most. Now, through the sword spear Heavenly Lord, the possibility of a being who accesses the canvas of myriad forms and connections becoming brainwashed beyond even tainted soul filling the heavens, begins to manifest. Ho ho, ho ha ho ha ho, we push through Oh Hai Seo's po that is full of unpleasant laughter, and finally arrive deep within her inner heart essence. That is, the place where her hun is visible. And through this, I come to understand one thing. Crossing the outer sea will take at least several billion years, no matter what. Even though everything is a world of chaos and every possibility remains open, that in itself means it's essentially a place where nothing can be done. A place overflowing with possibilities beyond our control. In such a place, we can only become endlessly powerless. Just to move within that powerlessness would require billions of years to adapt, so returning to Earth in a short time is impossible. Oh Hai Seo's po feels much the same, and the only reason we were able to flail about within her spirit and draw close to her inner heart essence by avoiding her mental defenses is thanks to Glass Peacock. Glass Peacock, I have no choice but to admit they're incredible. Of course, they are someone I once acknowledged as my master, so it's only natural. Glass Peacock swims through Oh Hai Seo's po using physical pleasure as a medium and instantly reaches the depths of her spirit. I see it. That's her inner heart essence. In other words, her hun, goo. With Kim Yeon riding on my head, I behold the world far off in the distance, enshrouded in a massive dark red veil. Is that the tainted soul filling the heavens left behind by Seo Weol? Ho ha ho ho, ho ho, unpleasant laughter echoes from within the tainted soul filling the heavens. Keying, I connect to Indra's net inside Oh Hai Seo's mental world. The Indra authority and tainted soul filling the heavens are tightly bound together, guarding Oh Hai Seo's mind. But still, the tainted soul filling the heavens, just as I saw in my past life, no longer aims to brainwash the opponent. Instead, it implants behavioral principles directly into their heart essence. But Oh Hai Seo's authority, truth manipulation, has changed in some way. Thump, thump, it's foreboding. Should I say it feels ominous? An unfathomable sense of ominousness radiates from her, truth manipulation, authority. This isn't just a simple Ender authority. Why is it that despite Oh Hai Seo not even having awakened her fate, her authority is stronger and more peculiar than the others? Moreover, this strong and distinct sense of foreboding isn't coming from Oh Hai Seo alone. This feeling is just like, it's the same foreboding I felt when I first heard about the future king from the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Future king, is this somehow connected to the fate supreme deity? Is Oh Hai Seo somehow different compared to us? Since when has this been the case? Just as I'm growing confused. The diagnosis is complete. Let us leave now. Patseetst. Glass Peacock nods knowingly and speaks. At those words, I grab the hands of Kim Yeon and Glass Peacock and exit back into the outer sea. Tsot. Around us is the familiar sea of chaos. Glass Peacock crosses their legs in a haughty manner, sits on their glass throne, and looks at us as they begin to speak. The great mountain Holy Mother's mind is trapped in a powerful firewall formed by that immortal art called tainted soul filling the heavens, combined with some other kind of mantra. So it seemed, and I've identified the nature of that firewall. The immortal art interwoven with tainted soul filling the heavens. It appears to be something born from fear. Fear of what? Grin. Glass Peacock smiles with a sly expression. Love. They hug both arms around themselves and tremble with an expression as if they can't stand it. Even while shouting that she's realized love with her mouth, in truth, she fears love the most. From the beginning, the reason why that guy Oh Yun Sok's shout drove her into retreating into her own mind is likely because she unconsciously realized that Oh Yun Sok truly cares for her with genuine love. At those words, I think of Oh Yun Sok. Oh Yun Sok definitely, sincerely cares for Oh Hai Seo. She deludes herself into thinking she's in love, but in truth, she refuses to acknowledge that what fills her heart isn't love, but purely negative emotion. Therefore, to undo the firewall surrounding Oh Hai Seo's mind, we need a power opposite of that. What kind of power exactly? It's not something I can pinpoint precisely. The heart is vast, after all. But if I had to say, the most effective would be love, wouldn't it? Love. The best would obviously be the love of that guy Oh Yun Sok, who thinks of the great mountain Holy Mother more than anyone else. But considering the flow of time is different between Mount Sumeru and the outer sea, that might be impossible. Which means, until we reach Mount Sumeru, I guess you two and I will just have to pour lots of love into her, right? I make a slightly awkward expression at those words. You're saying I should love Ohiseo? No, that's not what I mean. Just injecting the emotion of love that arises between the two of you will weaken the nature of Ohiseo's firewall day by day, and even that immortal art-tainted soul filling the heavens will start to fade. Tisk. If my main body were here, I could have negated tainted soul filling the heavens directly and broken through the firewall in one go. Glass Peacock clicks their tongue, then continues. But since my main body isn't here, in the end, the love of you two is the most needed. And it can't just be ordinary romantic love between man and woman. What's needed is the power of the intrinsic love within your essence. Intrinsic love. Then what exactly is intrinsic love? Just as I begin contemplating the question in a philosophical direction, Glass Peacock starts making lewd gestures with their fingers and looks at us suggestively. Don't overthink it. Why take the long way around when the answer's right in front of you? The answer is simple. Make a baby. Quote. What? At that absurd statement, I forget even the bare minimum of courtesy toward Glass Peacock and ask again. Don't pretend you didn't hear. I said make a baby. The two of you. Chapter 672. Holy Mother 2. A baby. Why something like that? Kim Yeon and I both turn bright red and attempt to ask Glass Peacock again. However, Glass Peacock unexpectedly turns serious and says, "You two, are you going to treat that one or not? We'd like to. Don't mess around with someone's mind. Are you going to or not? Speak clearly." Quote. We must. As Glass Peacock grows stern and yells with a furious tone, I, too, have no choice but to answer seriously. We must do it. Yes, this is a matter of necessity. Because Oh Yun-sok wants it. And also because Kim Young-hoon's true attainment envisions a future where all of us reach the audience chamber. If we want to grant Oh Yun-sok's wish, and if we want to meet Kim Young-hoon again, we must save Ohiseo. Quote. If it felt like we were playing around, I'm sorry. I apologize. However, bringing up a baby was too sudden. Please explain. HMPH. Fine, then I'll explain it properly. Glass Peacock rises from their seat and sweeps their hand through the void. Though it is a simple motion, perhaps because it is done by Glass Peacock, it looks as if they are caressing the void itself. Then it happens. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. Tsa. The chaos of the outer sea separates and order is born. The planes of chi, fate, and soul emerge, and above Glass Peacock's hand, a minimum space where living beings can dwell is created. Inside that tiny, droplet-sized space, it looks like a miniature universe. As you know, all beings possess chi. The same goes for fate. Their origin is unknowable, and they can only be said to be this world itself. Therefore, although all laws in the world have origin essences, only the two absolute laws, chi and fate, are without. Quote. But, do you know this? The true secret of the plane of soul. Quote. I do. The domain of the Northern Heavenly Venerable True Martial Great Emperor. The interdimensional void is actually the reverse side of the plane of soul. Yes, that's right. Then let me ask you one thing. At Glass Peacock's next question, I let out a low hum. Then in this world, are souls something created by the Heavenly Venerable of Void? Quote. Souls, spirits, that which we call by those names. They certainly exist in this world. Quote. I don't know, but I mutter quietly in thought at the topic Glass Peacock has thrown. Where do our souls come from? What is the origin of our spirits? What's certain is, it is not the plane of soul. That place is merely where souls linger. Right, the spirit is truly bizarre. Something like heaven and earth spiritual energy is produced once one reaches the star-shattering stage. Fate is produced upon becoming a great net immortal. But spirit, it just suddenly appears all at once one day, then disappears after passing through reincarnation. And though you can crush the spirit or absorb spiritual energy from it, no matter what you do, you can't completely annihilate the soul itself. Of course, the reason souls can't be destroyed is mostly because of the power of the underworld. Regardless, the spirit cannot be, artificially, produced by anyone. Indeed, with chi or fate, once you reach a certain realm, you can create them at will. But with soul, no matter what methods are used, it cannot be created artificially. Therefore, when true immortals perform yang pitch cultivation and create races, even if they may manipulate the bodies or fate of the race with their own hands, they still acquire the spirit through the underworld and the eastern heaven flower field. The spirit is thus extremely unstable. Its cycle of creation is unclear, and we don't even know under what conditions it arises. But among the older true immortals, a few know one method by which the spirit is created. What is it? Emotion. Emotion. That's right. What is called the heart of an existence. Among those, when positive emotions like joy, love, or pleasure reach their peak, that is when the spirit is created. Occasionally, there are beings born into this world by chance who were never granted life by the eastern heaven flower field. Such beings are usually children whose parents were not originally granted a child, but their love and joy became so intense that it surpassed fate, causing spirit to be born from them. Quote. Of course, creating a spirit through mere love is not easy. After all, the positive emotion must surpass the power of fate, even if just for a moment, for a spirit to be created. But if the creation succeeds, that spirit exists in a pure state that has never undergone reincarnation and is incredibly clean. In other words, it becomes a spirit full of positive emotions. Glass Peacock smiles faintly and continues. In fact, when I laid an egg in Azure Pung, I saw a spirit being born in Azure Pung's womb with my own eyes. That spirit was truly a clean spirit. Others don't have such a strong surge in emotional power when they feel joy, but that child, they possessed such a positive heart that when they felt joy, the intent of that joy was strong enough to cover 1,000 li in diameter. In other words, they point toward Ohio-Seo's sealing sphere. A pure spirit that has not undergone reincarnation greatly amplifies emotion by its very nature. Especially positive emotions. To break through that tainted soul filling the heavens and the unknown immortal art within the great mountain Holy Mother, the best method is for you two to copulate and create a spirit, then use the emotion amplifying power of that pure spirit to melt away Ohio-Seo's fear and negative emotions. Quote. But even if we do create a spirit, how do we know whether that spirit would want to be created? Quote. What? Ohio-Seo definitely needs to be healed. But that doesn't mean it's okay to create a child just to use them as a tool to heal her. I cannot accept creating or producing my child to use as a tool. That child would never have wanted to be created just to serve as a tool either. But at my words, Glass Peacock scoffs and replies. You're talking nonsense. Don't delude yourself. That's not something for you to decide. Quote. What? To be born is, in itself, an event of immeasurable value. No matter how hellish or painful life is, the very act of living has value. Born as a tool, you say. You think I'm not the same? Being bought right after being born because one of those heaven tribe freaks with deviant lusts wanted to use a peacock as a masturbation tool is me. So does that mean the meaning of my life is nothing more than a tool for self-pleasure? Quote. That's, life can be born as a tool, as a sex object, even as someone's meal. But still, good things exist. If you grit your teeth and keep going, there will come a day when you find your value. Don't you dare judge the value of someone's birth with that petty little head of yours. They are right. No matter how difficult it is, life certainly has value. Being born has value. However, one thing is clear. You are right, but that still doesn't mean it's okay to have a child to use as a tool. The problem lies in your perception of them as a tool. Isn't your child capable of saving the great mountain Holy Mother? They are a means of healing her. Quote. Well, I don't love Ohio-Seo, so that doesn't really resonate with me. You. At that moment, Kim Yeon tugs on my back. What is it, Yeon? Quote. She silently stares at me, then points to the ceiling sphere holding Ohio-Seo. Please, open it for a moment. You need to examine something. Reading her meaning through Indra's net, I temporarily release the seal on Ohio-Seo's body. Due to tainted soul filling the heavens sealing her consciousness, Ohio-Seo remains lying still with her eyes closed even after her body exits the sphere. Sararik, Kim Yeon's consciousness thread enters Ohio-Seo's mind. Then a short moment later. Flash, Kim Yeon's consciousness seems to connect directly into Ohio-Seo's spirit, and a gleam of light pink blazes in eyes. Warurururuk. Quote. Exclamation mark. Why Yeon? Kim Yeon, what's happening? Kijijijijijik. Quote. Exclamation mark. Quote. At the same time, an imprint of a bird flying through the sky appears over her face. That imprint seems to blaze in soft pink light, then after slowly detaching from Kim Yeon's body, flutters its wings as if it's alive. Then, quote. I finally understand. Thank you, Glass Peacock. Quote. Exclamation mark. Quote. I realize what has happened to Kim Yeon. What? Did she gain some enlightenment from what Glass Peacock said? Kim Yin has just obtained enlightenment from Glass Peacock and taken one step closer to awakening as a heavenly king. This feeling, it's incredibly similar to the power I once felt from Kim Young-hoon. She is now closely approaching the Tridakna vast cold heavenly king. You said Oh Hai Seo is carrying life, didn't you, Unyun Orabeoni? I did. The near-infinite power radiating from her pushes away the restrictions of her liberation law talent and grants her partial freedom of speech. Normally, she would have to fully draw out her power to its utmost limits to break those constraints, but it seems the current Kim Yin can now free herself from them just by thinking. Now I finally understand. Only after entering Oh Hai Seo's heart again and confirming it did I realize. The life inside Oh Hai Seo, it has the feeling of a created soul, just like what Glass Peacock spoke of. At those words, I feel as if I've been struck in the head. And, what I just confirmed is the identity of the being who breathed that soul into Oh Hai Seo. Warurururuk. Her eyes flare blaze in a light pink hue, and she tells me the truth. The tainted soul filling the heavens that Seo Weol passed onto Oh Hai Seo. It is undoubtedly formed from endless hatred and yoke, but, somewhere deep within it, there is undoubtedly a very small amount of love. And that power, it breathed a spirit into Oh Hai Seo and is currently creating. It's certainly a faint and unstable spirit, but just as Glass Peacock said, it's a pure spirit. Hearing this shocking truth, I realize something. Maybe, that spirit is the child of Oh Hai Seo and Seo Weol. No, that's not it. Pardon, Seo Weol's heart toward Oh Hai Seo created a soul. And that means, Oh Hai Seo is in a state where she now possesses a soul. That soul likely isn't a child between her and Seo Weol, but rather Oh Hai Seo's own soul. Built upon Seo Weol's heart, she has partially escaped the bridle of an ender. And through this, I arrive at yet another realization. Triple divinity, creation, preservation, destruction. A person's heart is truly triple divinity itself. As I hear Glass Peacock's insight and Kim Yin's revelation, I finally gain a deeper understanding of triple divinity. The Brahma nature of creation, joy, love, pleasure. The Narayana nature of preservation, anger, sorrow, pleasure. The Mahavira nature of destruction, hatred, desire, pleasure. As I firmly grasp the relationship between the basic intents of the 7 emotions and triple divinity, I come to yet another realization. If the absolute within us is split into joy, anger, sorrow, love, hatred, desire, and pleasure, into the forms of the 7 emotions, and those 7 emotions correspond to triple divinity. Kim Yin, listen carefully, and Glass Peacock, you too, know this. What? We are not going to have a child together. Instead, if a pure spirit is the starting point to saving Oh Hai Seo, then Kim Yin will create one. Glass Peacock looks at us like we're speaking madness, but I shrug and continue. She can do it, because Kim Yin is a girl with a lot of love. The heavenly king who governs love. The ender connected to the triple divinity of creation. The successor of the Tridakna vast cold heavenly king, and my love. If it's her, then surely. You said there's a newly forming soul inside Oh Hai Seo, right? But it's unstable due to the small amount of love. Then Kim Yin can infuse power into that spirit and let it be born as a complete soul. We may be able to awaken a new existence, not just within Oh Hai Seo, but within all of us. Having a child with Kim Yin comes after we escape the outer sea. So, the soul we will create to save Oh Hai Seo should simply be her own soul. There's no need to create a baby's spirit just to use it as a tool to save her. Glass Peacock looks at us in disbelief, as if asking whether such a thing is even possible, and I calmly embrace Kim Yin from behind with my eyes gleaming. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord watches Seo Unyun's 6th cycle, where Seo Unyun and Cheongman Ryong search in a library for a way to overcome the heavenly rejection phenomenon. What was that just now? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord looks at Seo Unyun reading a book in the library, and feels as though some other existence is going to awaken from within his body. But that sensation is so faint it's closer to déjà vu, making it hard to judge clearly. Is it because I'm inside Seo Unyun's memories that my judgment is warping, or is something really? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord glares at Cheongman Ryong. The Last Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. The trace of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity Ryong. I can't tell what it's doing to Seo Unyun. She looks at the trace of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity. What remained after the Salt Sea Supreme Deity entered the head realm and disappeared is this being, Cheongman Ryong. In a way, one could even say this is the reincarnation of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity, who met a pitiful end. But, where once she might have felt satisfaction toward the downfall of the Salt Sea Supreme Deity who betrayed Radiance Hall, now, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord only lets out a silent sigh as she looks at Cheongman Ryong. Seo Eun-yuns. There was a world of enders outside Mount Sumeru. The Supreme Deities were right. Radiance Hall was wrong. The banner of Radiance Hall is harming itself. And, by watching Cheongman Ryong, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord can see the contradiction of Radiance Hall. Why is it that Radiance Hall is able to interfere in the head realm, but never once tried to investigate what lies beyond it? If Radiance Hall truly wanted to shut the Supreme Deities up, couldn't they have just investigated and refreshingly given evidence that definitely proved nothing exists outside Mount Sumeru? Why didn't they even try? It's strange. The more she thinks, it's not just one or two things that are strange. In the first place, is pursuing freedom for all living beings while sacrificing the few for the sake of the many truly justice. The fact that they've never once doubted their own justice, that itself feels unnatural. Isn't it far too strange? This is as if someone has set our fate so we can't even form such doubts or try to challenge them. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord shivers. The more she looks at Cheongman Ryong, the more she thinks. The truth points toward one thing. The emptiness Supreme Deity Mayan Woon. The head realm, beyond the place that the Supreme Deities and Heavenly Venerables call the audience chamber. There, someone exists, and that someone, without even Radiance Hall's knowledge, has determined Radiance Hall's fate, commands the Radiance Supreme Deity as their subordinate, and orchestrates all things and all phenomena. As soon as she forms this hypothesis, an unspeakable terror floods the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. The Cheongman Ryong before her eyes feels like her own future. Single quote. Now I understand. O Salt Sea Supreme Deity, the last Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. The last Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. The betrayer of Radiance Hall, the Salt Sea Supreme Deity Ryong, must have discovered the truth through whatever means. That the freedom that Radiance Hall cries out for is nothing more than a noble cause tossed out by someone who tightens the leash around Radiance Hall, and in the end, Radiance Hall itself is nothing more than the someone's slave. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord fears delving any deeper into Seo Eun-yun's memories. But, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord persists and continues on. And when she sees the Cheongman Ryong of the sixth cycle burying Seo Eun-yun beneath a quince tree. When she sees something leave Seo Eun-yun's body and head west. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord makes a resolution. Even if the Cheongman Ryong before her is her own future, she must suppress this fear and move forward. If it truly is the case that a transcendent someone toys with the values of Radiance Hall from behind the scenes and orchestrates the fate of the world. If it truly is the case that unlike the Radiance 8 immortals, who castrate their own emotions and balance each other through mutual power, the unchallengeable power of the Absolute that is fate rests solely in the hands of a single someone. Then, for the sake of true freedom for all living beings in the three heavens great thousand world, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord knows that she must make the same choice as the Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. No, Yang Ji-wang continues to read through Seo Eun-yun's memories, seeking ever more clues to the truth of the world. Chapter 673, Holy Mother 3. Querararik. Above Hai Seo's head, Kim Yeon's countless consciousness threads are sucked in. TSTSTSTSs. At the same time, I feel another flow of time take place as we make our way through the chaos. This time, it's slowed down. The time flow toward Mount Sumeru speeds up by hundreds of millions of times. Fortunately, if I reach Araya consciousness, there's no major issue in communicating with Oyun Sok, but the problem lies on this side. The distortion of time within the Sea of Chaos is far too erratic. At this rate, there's no way to predict when we'll reach Mount Sumeru again. For now, I relay the current situation to Oyun Sok and ask for his opinion. Quote. For these reasons, I'm planning to release Hai Seo's mental restriction. What are your thoughts, Hung Nim? Quote. Oyun Sok lets out a sigh and speaks. Quote. If it's necessary for Hai Seo, then do so. But, I have one request. What is it, Chiok? Oyun Sok thrusts his fist toward me. Wo Wang. A violet aura ripples from his fist. It is the purple soul filling the heavens I once passed on to him. This is my purple soul filling the heavens. Through the Celestial Lord incense burning spell, I wish to transfer it to you. Is that possible? Quote. I hesitate for a moment at those words. To receive something through the celestial Lord incense burning spell requires me to endure a significant loss on my end. I'll probably have to burn away 10,000 years worth of fortune and virtue. But after a brief moment of thought, I extend my fist toward Oh Yun Sok and meet his. Suat. With that, Oh Yun Sok's heart seeps into mine. It is his heart toward Oh Hai Seo. Please, Oh Hai Seo, talk to me. His desire to break through the wall surrounding Oh Hai Seo's heart begins to surge within my own. At the same time, I feel like I understand a bit about Oh Yun Sok's fate, pleasure. I also begin to understand why Oh Yun Sok has grasped the authority of primordial chaos. Breaking down boundaries, just as purple is formed by the merging of blue and red. Perhaps the fate of pleasure that Oh Yun Sok possesses signifies the act of mixing something. That might also be why the intent of pleasure appears sometimes as violet, and other times as silver. Silver, made from the mixing of black and white. Purple, born from the blending of red and blue. Either way, it's a color that mixes two extremes and brings them into harmony. The power to break down boundaries between polar opposites and make them unify. That must be the color and power of pleasure. It is at that moment. As I hold Oh Yun Sok's heart within my chest, a strange sensation stirs. Wait, shiver, shiver, shiver. Goosebumps begin to rise all over my body. It is not from fear or terror. This is, a lead, is forming. Goosebumps rise from an overwhelming ecstasy and hope. The moment I receive Oh Yun Sok's purple soul filling the heavens. It feels as though Jang Ike's decisive move is unfolding in front of me. The ultimate technique of Jang Ik, that created countless artificial souls and drew power from them. The final form of Hyeon Emu's dance of emptiness, which wielded the full power of the plane of soul. And the final ultimate technique of Kim Young-hoon's surpassing radiant Genesis form, that brought the authority of an absolute to its peak. Somehow, the three all pursued the ultimate of martial arts in a similar way. Soul Hun, Kim Young-hoon's likely possession of the fate of joy, appears to correspond to the triple divinity of creation, just like Kim Yeon's. Kim Young-hoon's power is likely one that creates souls. The interdimensional void of Hyeon Mu is, to begin with, the plane of soul, and Hyeon Mu herself has long accumulated substantial power related to the soul by devouring portions of power from countless enders. Jang Ik, too, created artificial souls similar to the canvas of myriad forms and connections. Which means, the ultimate of martial arts is a power rooted in the strength of a person's soul. Glass Peacock clearly said that souls are born from powerful positive forces. Then are positive forces the best way to reach the martial pinnacle? No. That's not quite right. It's not about being positive. My mind clears. Borrowing the heart. Perhaps, that is what truly matters. What is a person's heart? I suddenly realize that I still don't fully understand it. Yi and ah, if I'm with you, maybe I be able to understand it a little. Within the sea of chaos, all is frozen except for me, who activates Araya consciousness. Because we've entered a region of the outer sea where time slows, only Mount Sumeru's time flows rapidly. Only someone like me can move within this frozen world. I wrap my arms around Kim Yeon from behind and feel her warmth. Just what exactly is the heart? It's warm. Is this the heart? If so, then the ultimate of martial arts might be something warmer than I thought. For some reason, that thought comes to me. Within Seo Eun-yeon's memory. The 10th cycle, Yang Ji-won sees Buk Hyung-hwa designing the colorless glass sword for Seo Eun-yeon. And as she watches, she flinches. She can't help it. A soul was created. The very design of that colorless glass sword contains a soul within it. Buk Hyung-hwa believes the emotion amplification function of the colorless glass sword is something she intentionally added, but to Yang Ji-won, who understands the principle of the world, that emotion amplification function is not something she designed at all. Through 10 years of sharing hearts between Seo Eun-yeon and Buk Hyung-hwa, their emotions that have amplified to the peak have imbued the design with a soul Hun. That's right. In a way, the colorless glass sword could be called the child of Seo Eun-yeon and Buk Hyung-hwa. A pure spirit without reincarnation. It's just that it is still so faint that it can't yet be called a true spirit, perhaps only a weak spiritual body. Soon, Yang Ji-won watches Buk Hyung-hwa's death, Yuan Li's appearance, and Seo Eun-yeon's centuries of cultivation in preparation to face Yuan Li, and for the first time, she feels her chest tremble. Why? Why is this happening? Why? It is a resonance she has never felt since donning the mask. No, even before wearing the mask, To her who had only ever felt dry and indifferent except in war and combat, this is an overwhelming impact. Get a hold of yourself, Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Even if I admit that we were wrong, it doesn't mean our method was wrong. Emotions are still poison, and they are still useless. I am the god of iron, war, and victory. I am one of the true immortals who govern the martial Tao. In the path of martial cultivation, something like a person's heart is unnecessary. Quote. Listen closely, Xiao Unyun. Yang Ji Wang, trying to revive her persona as the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, raises her voice toward Xiao Unyun's memory. Even if your memories manage to brainwash me, they cannot fully stain me. I am a being born for war, blood, iron, sword, victory, and freedom. I care for nothing else. True freedom is born only under emotionless, impartial rulers. You cannot force emotions, a heart, onto me. I will reject it. Saying this, she continues delving into Xiao Unyun's memories. I will never be completely broken by your memories. Never. However, for some reason, her final words sound weak. How much time has passed? At some point, we reach an area where the flow of time between Mount Sumeru and the outer sea balances. TSSTSSTST. Together with Kim Yeon, I inject the power of love she holds into Oh Hai Seo, further developing Oh Hai Seo's soul. Glass Peacock, from behind us, sometimes offers advice like a seasoned senior. And at other times, they spout lewd and indecent jokes. Regardless, Kim Yeon and I continue to hold hands and approach Oh Hai Seo's heart. I am also passing on the purple soul filling the heavens that Oh Yun Sok transmitted to me, back into Oh Hai Seo. The hearts of Kim Yeon, myself, and Oh Yun Sok flow into the depths of Oh Hai Seo. How many days do we spend flowing our hearts into Oh Hai Seo? Suddenly, I discover a strange phenomenon in Oh Hai Seo's heart and in the outer sea. The sea of chaos overlaps. What is this? It is not a mere illusion brought on by fatigue. For some reason, I feel like I've experienced this strange phenomenon before. Just what is this? Kugugugu. But before I can investigate further, I suddenly find myself able to peer all the way into the depths of Oh Hai Seo's heart in one go. Oh Hai Seo's soul is veiled by tainted soul filling the heavens, and within it, her consciousness is visible. And within that, something is happening. The more her spirit takes form, the more she appears to suffer pain. Why is it? Why is she suffering more as she gains a soul? A soul is a collection of positive energy. Yet, for some reason, even though we are infusing her with the power of love, Oh Hai Seo only continues to suffer. Normally, I would try to find the cause of that pain, but for some reason, I know instinctively that I must not intervene now. I only observe. For some reason, curiously, the instinct of a martial artist stops me. This time, I must absolutely not intervene. Why not? Because, soon, the way to reach the ultimate of martial arts will unfold before your eyes. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. I flinch in surprise and look at the impermanent sword within my heart. What was that? Just now, it felt like the impermanent sword whispered to me. I throw a couple questions toward the impermanent sword again and read through history a few times. But not only does the impermanent sword give no answer, even when I read through history, I can't find the history in which the impermanent sword spoke to me. It feels like I've been possessed by a ghost. But since there's no way I've been possessed, this must be a kind of martial artist's intuition. Oh Hai Seo's heart is related to the martial pinnacle. Why? How? What is? Yet no matter how much I ponder, I cannot find the answer, so I choose to follow my intuition and observe. How many years have passed? Within the erratic time flow of the outer sea, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years pass. And then, one day, Pot, the 280,000th year of Kim Yeon and I holding hands, growing affection for each other, and injecting it into Oh Hai Seo. Our hearts pass through Oh Hai Seo's tainted soul filling the heavens, and at last, Oh Hai Seo's spirit is fully born. Had it not been for the authority of tainted soul filling the heavens and truth manipulation, it might have been possible in just a few years. But because those powers and immortal arts interfered, it ended up taking hundreds of thousands of years. And then, just when her spirit is completely born. Stop it already! An overwhelming scream bursts forth from Oh Hai Seo's spirit and begins to distort the surroundings. This place is. Her authority, truth manipulation, activates, transforming the environment of the outer sea into the form of the Sea Dragon Palace. Leave me alone, please, please. It seems to be a type of illusion technique. I can feel that if I concentrate my mind, I can exit this illusion immediately. But I do not exit the illusion, and instead continue to observe. Just then, Kwang, the space beside me collapses, and someone appears next to me. It is Oh Yun-sok. No, this is Oh Yun-sok's heart, the purple soul filling the heavens that he passed on to me, and I to Oh Hai-seo, has appeared taking on the form of Oh Yun-sok. Since this is a world of illusion, perhaps it is easier to take form. Oh Hai-seo, purple soul filling the heavens. No, Oh Yun-sok's will, speaks. I have something to say to you. Don't come, Kiriririk. From the center of the Sea Dragon Palace where Oh Hai-seo resides, an immense repulsion force arises and pushes us back. However, Oh Yun-sok moves forward as if unaffected. Thud, under Oh Yun-sok's momentum. Under his advance, the Sea Dragon Palace collapses. Ignoring the complex structure of the Sea Dragon Palace, smashing through it as he approaches Oh Hai-seo, Oh Yun-sok rather resembles a rhinoceros. Don't come. I said don't come. As if that damn reptilian bastard wasn't enough. Now even you, who tormented me without knowing you were a puppet of some immortal life soap company. I hate it. I hate all of it. Seo Whale, I'm going to live here with Seo Whale forever. All of you, get lost. All of you, Kugugugu. The repulsion force from Oh Hai-seo only grows stronger, and we are forced to stop in place. Even the rhinoceros like Oh Yun-sok halts momentarily. But then, wings begin to emerge from Oh Yun-sok's back. It is Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter. 1 wing, 2 wings, 3 wings. Surpassing the 10 wings of Azure Tiger Saint, 13 wings seem to unfold, and those wings appear to wrap entirely around one of Oh Yun-sok's arms. Chiak, the form of a purple dragon engraves itself onto Oh Yun-sok's body. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter is activated to its limit. Hai-seo. At that moment, smiling more warmly than any expression I've ever seen from him, Oh Yun-sok speaks. I'm sorry, Kwang. At the same time, Oh Yun-sok thrusts his fist forward, and the Sea Dragon Palace created within Oh Hai-seo's illusion collapses. The Sea Dragon Palace crumbles, and where it once stood, only a massive crater remains. And at the center of that crater, familiar faces appear. It is Oh Hai-seo. And Seo Whale. Ho ho, fellow Taoists. Let's not be like this. Come share a cup of tea. Oh Yun-sok and I both watch the scene and smile bitterly. Within Oh Hai-seo's illusion, he is alive, but in our eyes, we see the truth. Oh Hai-seo is embracing the bones of a massive dragon. Even Oh Hai-seo herself knows Seo Whale cannot be brought back. But because she cannot accept that truth, she continues to hold on to those bones and flee from the truth. I look at Oh Hai-seo. The spirit of Oh Hai-seo, that I and Kim Yeon completed together, begins to collapse the moment it is fully formed. Oh Hai-seo. Oh Yun-sok takes a step toward Oh Hai-seo and speaks. Wake up now. Seo Whale is dead. Seo Eun-yun isn't a reptilian, and our company never made something like immortal life soap. And, that day, Big Brother definitely took you to a psychiatric hospital. I saw with my own eyes when they prescribed you medication. Jaejong. At Oh Yun-sok's words, Oh Hai-seo's eyes begin to tremble. When I drew upon my Ender authority and checked, only then did I truly confirm it. It was probably because of your authority, wasn't it? Hai-seo ah, do you still not understand? No matter how much you manipulate the truth remains the truth. You can never escape it, and you can never run away. Don't make me lao. Then, just what do I have left? What, in my life, what is even left? ... When you face it instead of running away, that too becomes something that lets us move forward. Oh Yun-sok raises his fist and approaches Oh Hai-seo. But the closer he gets to her, the more his hand gradually opens. And then, when he reaches right in front of her, Oh Yun-sok spreads both his arms as if to embrace her. Come here, Hai-seo ah. Even in reality, there are people who love you. I said don't make me laugh. Seo Whale, help me. Please don't let these lunatics destroy us. Seo Whale, deny the lies of those lunatics, please. Damn, I click my tongue as I look at the tainted soul filling the heavens in the form of Seo Whale. If it's the tainted soul filling the heavens Seo Whale left behind, then surely, it will lure her in with sweet words. Ho ho. Then, the tainted soul filling the heavens left behind by Seo Whale opens its mouth. The tainted soul filling the heavens erases the smile from its face and speaks. Quote ... Get a hold of yourself, Oh Hai-seo. ... Huh. Single quote ... Question mark single quote. At those words, not only Oh Hai-seo, but I also widen my eyes. Have you forgotten what I gave you? Back then, I gave you my life. Ah, don't live meaninglessly with the life I gave you, oh High Co. Turn around, oh High Co. Aren't there people waiting for you? Don't look this way, don't turn your eyes away from the truth. With those words, Co Whale's tainted soul filling the heavens shouts powerfully toward oh High Co. Then, the form of the tainted soul filling the heavens changes. The form that had maintained the appearance of Co Whale inside oh High Co's illusion returns to the shape of massive dragon bones. It reveals the corpse of the sea dragon, forcing her to face the truth. And upon seeing that form, oh High Co begins to weep, shedding tears of blood. And no, Co Whale, no, Co Whale, oh High Co grabs and shakes Co Whale's bones, then collapses as she screams. Co Whale, please get up, Co Whale, Co Whale, don't leave me alone, please tell me this isn't real. Co Whale, please, her continuing desperate cries, the true will of Co Whale that was hidden inside the tainted soul filling the heavens. And the heart of Oh Yun Sok. Seeing it all, I finally fully realize how to reach the marital pinnacle. Tell me, that you love me, it has truly been a long time. Oh High Co's truth manipulation authority is ironically an authority that cannot forget that the truth exists. Through that power, all the distorted and manipulated realities she has twisted until now begin to shatter. From the large, like how she distorted our past, to the small, like my obsession with shoulders. Across the long and longer time, I smile as I watch the will of Co Whale within the dissolving tainted soul filling the heavens beside oh High Co. My fellow Taoist, the existence known as Co Whale has, at last, truly attained Buddhahood. I have finally overcome Co Whale. Now, even if someone touches my shoulder, I don't think I'll have a seizure. Chapter 674, Holy Father, Mountain God. Please, oh High Co's scream shakes the illusory space, and as the world cracks open, the dreary essence of the outer sea reveals itself. However, to the very end, tainted soul filling the heavens does not return from the skeletal form of the sea dragon. And finally, when the essence of the outer sea reveals itself, and at last, her truth manipulation crumbles. Oh High Co throws aside the bones of Co Whale held in her arms and sobs. Co Whale, the bones of Sea Dragon King Co Whale drift somewhere beyond the chaos of the outer sea and disintegrate, and oh High Co, turning her back on that sight, finally collapses into Oh Yun Sok's arms. TS's. As her illusionary space disappears, Oh Yun Sok takes on the form of purple soul filling the heavens and tightly embraces her. Purple soul filling the heavens, now transformed into violet vapor, whispers while holding her close. It's okay, High Co. Everything's okay now, and I'm sorry for not caring about you. TS's. Oh Yun Sok's purple soul filling the heavens begins to seep directly into Oh High Co. What is Oh Yun Sok's now passes on to her, and it begins to merge with her tainted soul filling the heavens. Still, please remember just this one thing. Even here, there is someone who truly loves you. Oh Yun Sok's warm love flows deep into her heart, and Oh High Co weeps. I hate it all, I hate all of you. Co Whale, I hate you. Why did you leave me? Why did you leave me with nothing but this? I hate you too, Oh Yun Sok. Why did you leave me alone all this time? Kim Yeon, I hate you. Why did you become so radiant that I can't even look at you anymore? And, Co Eun Yun, I hate you the most. Quote. Why, won't you, just leave me alone? Why? TS's. As Oh Yun Sok's purple soul filling the heavens merges with Oh High Co's tainted soul filling the heavens, their form transforms. Oh High Co's shadow shifts in form. What was once a shadow shaped like Co Whale, now transforms into her own shadow bearing the horns of a sea dragon. I hate everyone, I really hate everyone, but, clutching the chest where purple soul filling the heavens has seeped into, Oh High Co grits her teeth. Because this pain, because this hatred exists, that must be why life is something we can't escape. Her enlightenment is conveyed thread by thread through Indra's net. Pain is hatred is a yoke. If there is a difference between anger and hatred, anger can be repaid through retribution. But hatred becomes a lifelong scar and yoke in a person's heart. Hatred is a collar and truth you can never escape from. But, to carry that yoke on one's back and still continue on, that is life. I gaze into Oh High Co's heart essence. Rain begins to fall in what had always been a desolate desert. That rain overflows and overflows, soon becoming a sea. Even if I accept the pain, I must live on. Right, Whale. Now bearing in her heart essence a sea of storms vast enough to house a sea dragon, she rises to her feet. If truth is something you cannot escape no matter how much you manipulate it, then it must mean even if you accept it, you must still live. I know then that a great change has occurred within her. Whether on Earth, or here in Mount Sumeru. She, who once would have embraced death at the slightest opportunity if Whale was gone, no, even if he was still present, has at last changed. Whale's shout, Oh Yun Sok's shout, the cry of all of us together, has led her to finally treasure life, to choose living over suicide. Now, even if left alone, she will not choose death. Keying. At the same moment, a massive tangwa rises behind her. Until now, the tangwa of her comrades resembled the compassionate visages of bodhisattvas, but hers is different. Hers is simply, unmistakably, a monster. Kugugugu. 6 arms, 3 heads. Ohai Seo's tangwa, in the form of an asura with 3 heads and 6 arms, begins to overturn something in reality with all 6 hands. I don't need your help anymore. I don't need your empty promise that Whale can be brought back. I've come to know that it can't be done. But, even if I can't save him, I'll live on carrying the life he passed on to me. So, I no longer need your embrace. Clang. At that moment, the asura's 6 arms strike fiercely at Ohai Seo's back. Jaejaewang. Simultaneously, something like a dark red chain seems to emerge behind her, only to shatter under the asura's blow. Kugugugugugu. Exclamation mark quote. From somewhere far away, a familiar wave sweeps across the entirety of the outer sea. It is the power of the great mountain supreme deity. I see. Ohai Seo, as of this day, has chosen to sever her status as the great mountain supreme deity's disciple. And she senses that the great mountain supreme deity has, in turn, expelled her. She is no longer my martial niece. I'll live with pride, even if life is nothing but pain. I'll endure. After all, Ohai Seo moves her arm. At the same moment, my jade seal of yin-yang and 5 elements embedded in her shatters completely, and she relinquishes her immortal Tao itself. She chooses no longer to walk the Tao of repentant enlightenment. But as her realm in the immortal Tao had not been high to begin with, she is merely a vestige liberation immortal. Now freed from me, from the great mountain supreme deity, and from Whale, she utters a single phrase with a lightened heart and weeps. Life is nothing but hatred. Life is hatred. It is the moment she speaks those words. Shiver. Exclamation mark quote. An unbearable, revolting filth creeps over me. This is. And then, I feel the gaze of some presence that I could not perceive in my previous realm. I turn my head to perceive what that gaze is, and soon after, I am able to behold it directly. Kugugugugu. Tracing that gaze back to its origin, at the very end lies Mount Sumeru. A massive world in the form of an inverted cone. At its edge, Mount Sumeru, 33rd heaven, the threshold of the audience chamber. The head realm that lies in that place, Shojiya. There, I see it sees Miore as meet it's a gigantic jade. It is a gigantic jade. Gigantic jade. Gigan. Kuog. I scream desperately. At my cry, the entire outer sea seems to tremble, and behind my back, the pure white 3 great ultimates and the wheel begin to fully support me. Revealing my true body in the outer sea, I pour every bit of my mind into, facing directly, what lies at the edge of that gaze. And then, across over 1,000 lifetimes, across endless time, I finally succeed in perceiving it. It is a gigantic jade throne upon which the Holy Father sits. He watches over us from behind the emptiness supreme deity Myong Woonhoral sits back and stares at us and Myong Woonasom Hunyunes me transparent state allowing me to dare directly behold the jade face of that exalted being. His sacred visage is so methingaloli being like me cannot dare to describe abudi if I must venture to depict it in words it is as follows she wear a dragon robe of Sakrankno serpemdiatiter esto aprochandatafishi addressed to Myongwan that makes heaven the heavenly venerable of the underworld seem small that Myongwan itself looks like the black sky, and so he appears as though he's holding up the sky itself. On his jade body for Samary's inferior, 3 holes, pierced through him the first hole I sat the upper danti on his face is making his jade a face apralike ringen sacred these cond hole I spire saith the middle danchin where he shesta sand perhaps because of this she appears heartbreakingly hollow the final hole I spire saith this a slower danti and where his slower abdomen is and can't help but feel that whatever ons filled the 3 holes were. Faces. I've somehow encountered before and at even thought of me this face before who he is it that I haven't ever once recognized that exalted on I can only feel bitterly resentful this is blasphemy beyond description so I decide to strangle my own neck and burn myself to seek forgiveness for that sin a burnt offering. Don't go. Seo Unyun. Keying. Kayak. Kahayak. At someone's cry, I finally come to my senses and open my eyes on the spot. Hyok. Heo Hayak. As I come to my senses, I find my entire body bound in light pink threads, with Kim Yeon holding me tightly from behind. This is. I clearly understand what just happened. Crazy. I was about to return to thee. Kim Yeon's heart tightly embraces me, and around us quince blossoms bloom in full, revitalizing my mind. Hyok. Heok. I think of what I just saw. Behind, the head realm. Did I see the audience chamber? Gag. For some reason, a repulsion and disgust rising from deep in my chest make me clamp my mouth shut. I try to recall the form of that being I saw in the audience chamber, but an overwhelming headache surges up, and so I barely manage to calm my heart, fracturing the memory and shattering the knowledge into fragments. Only then do I become able to recall that being without serious strain. I see now. Just now, I perceived, the future king. There is no other explanation for what I felt. That being is the one whom even the supreme deities and heavenly venerables fear. It is the future king, the fate supreme deity. As I recall the times I felt revulsion, when I ascended from the head realm or encountered pivotal moments, I tremble. I see. The moments I felt revulsion were all the very moments when my comrades fully awakened to their fates. I glance at Oh Seo. She sits in a lotus position, glaring at me. Having obtained Indra's net, I can clearly tell. Oh Seo has fully awakened to her fate. And every time an Ender fully awakened to their fate, the future king had been observing us from the audience chamber. Clang. At that moment, I perceive a change in the radiance mantra. I see. So the change in the regression point was because of this. I come to understand the principle behind the change in regression point. It is when the future king observes us. When our fate is completely observed by the future king, and my actions are observed together with it by the future king, then the alteration of the past through the radiance mantra or an Ender's fate becomes completely impossible. If that happens, even if one returns to the past, the radiance mantra judges that changing the future is absolutely impossible, and thus fixes the regression point. If I hadn't directly faced the future king this time, I never would have known. It is truly fortunate that I managed to directly look at the future king. If I hadn't awakened Indra's net, known the conditions for martial pinnacle, and reached the peak of great net immortal, I would never have been able to endure that gaze and trace it back to directly face the future king. And had I not directly faced the future king, I never would have fully grasped the various knowledge and conditions related to regression. Regardless, this challenge has brought me considerable gain. Damn it, future king, but among the knowledge I gained from the future king, I tremble, startled by the fact that I have encountered 3 of the future king's faces. Just what in the world is that being? Seo Weol is dead, but I recall the time I suffered at his hands. That suffocating fear when I couldn't tell whether someone around me was Seo Weol or not. The terror that every connection I've ever formed might have contained a face of the future king fills my chest. Let's not get too caught up in it right now. Still, I shake my head and open my eyes wide. Thank you, Kim Yeon. I express my gratitude to Kim Yeon, who helped bring me back to my senses and rise to my feet. A welcome guest has arrived. Long time no see. I look behind me. The presence who appeared like a phantom next to Oh Seo. I gaze at the northern heavenly venerable, the true martial great emperor Hyeon Mu. What brings you so suddenly to the outer sea? Hyeon Mu stands atop Glass Peacock's clone, who now lies beneath her, showing an expression of fear and revulsion that I have never seen before. Hyeon Mu. You. Crunch. Just as Glass Peacock tries to open their mouth, Hyeon Mu moves her hand and crushes their head like a bug. Though it's only a clone, they should be able to regenerate. But perhaps because Hyeon Mu made a move, Glass Peacock's regeneration seems significantly delayed. Hyeon Mu's eyes are as empty as before, but they are now also soaked in endless despair and pain. As expected, Hyeon Mu has perceived and followed along my regression in the state of having recovered her memories from seeing Hong Fan last time. I look at Hyeon Mu and ask again. May I ask what brings you to this desolate outer sea? Isn't it obvious? Hyeon Mu rises from her seat, surrendering her body to the chaos of the outer sea. Upon realizing someone has grasped a clue to Martial Pinnacle, I rushed over immediately. Haha, it's an honor. But it's unfortunate, even if I've grasped a clue to Martial Pinnacle. I know, even if you miraculously reach Martial Pinnacle, and Kim Young-hoon comes back to life, you won't be able to kill me. I've just gotten used to showing up whenever I sense people like you that I came reflexively. Hyeon-mu speaks with a hollow expression. Now, until my memories are erased again, I have no expectations toward you all, so do not worry. For even if there are 100, 1,000 supreme deities or beings who've reached Martial Pinnacle, I already know I cannot die. Can you not tell me? I ask Hyeon-mu a question. Why you try to die yet cannot, what it is you remembered after meeting Hong Fan, and what you meant by, even if the 7 brilliance is completed, it is only half. If you could tell me about your relationship with the heavenly venerable of the underworld as well, I'd be even more grateful. At those words, Hyeon-mu coldly glares down at me and speaks. It is not something a thing like you needs to know. Do not delude yourself. Speaking the exact same words as Hong Fan, Hyeon-mu continues. It is unbearably sorrowful and crushingly painful, yet still, the story must be completed. As long as I am aware of that, I can never show you any sympathy. Then, why do you keep ridiculing us here? You could have just looked at us once and disappeared. That's for another reason. Regardless, it benefits me for you all to grow. I came to encourage you not to lose your will and become annihilated here. Pardon, do not pretend you don't know. You feel it too. Hyeon-mu grins cruelly. I give a bitter smile at those words. The massive presence being felt together with Hyeon-mu. It belongs to a familiar being. Do you not sense it? That the great mountain supreme deity who expelled their disciple is now pushing the interpretation that they have lost, that disciple. I feel it. Beyond that sea of chaos. A crushing pressure surges toward us. Although fully completing the splitting heaven mantra is impossible, it should now be possible to disperse the power and fire it in a simplified form. And if the splitting heaven mantra is completed in a simplified version, completing the splitting heaven mantra itself should also become faster. At minimum, 10 million years. At most, maybe 100 million years will be cut from the completion time. And, naturally, Hyeon-mu melts into the chaos and speaks. The simplified splitting heaven mantra won't reach Mount Sumeru, so the only ones to test it on right now are you. Kururururung. Kim Yeon and Oh Hae-seo flinch in surprise and look toward somewhere. An authority of overwhelming violence boils from beyond that chaos. Reach it, the ultimate of martial arts. If you can manifest even a part of that power, even if through unorthodox methods, then the simplified splitting heaven mantra can be blocked. With those final words, Hyeon-mu completely dissolves into the chaos, and I suck in a hollow breath. The sea of chaos boils over. At the same time, an immeasurably vast authority is felt from afar. And a familiar will is conveyed to me. You've come up. Welcome. Whatever the case, you're come to settle things with me, haven't you? Take it. The simplified splitting heaven. At the same time, the stepping stone toward the splitting heaven mantra. This is Kururururung. I place Kim Yeon and Oh Hae-seo on my flower soul filling the heavens and send them far away as I slowly draw the impermanence sword in that spot. My power, that even surpasses master. Heaven, earth, and heavens above. Across the world, the will of the great mountain supreme deity GWAKM resounds. Prove it, splitting, that you are more suitable for the Tao of the mountain than I, who have surpassed master. Emperor, today, right here, splitting, let us determine the true mountain god. Heaven, splitting emperor splitting heaven, Li Di Li Tien. Annihilation Mie advancement Jin Wu Wu. Editor. Wu Wu is the fifth of the 10 heavenly stems. A golden wave that destroys the entire world surges toward me, infused with the golden light of Wu Wu of the 10 heavens, becoming annihilation. The light of annihilation advancement that's meant to tear through the Emperor D and kill the heavens Tien becomes an authority even more terrifying than the single strike of the underworld. And I, refining the enlightenment of martial pinnacle with the sensation I felt when I once blocked the single strike of the underworld, extend the impermanence sword. Cut. The will of the impermanence sword and my own will become one, and thus I take my first step toward martial pinnacle to block the strike of the great mountain supreme deity. Jejeong. A significant portion of the outer sea's chaos seems to condense into a single point, then immediately fires toward one place along with a massive golden light. Where that golden light strikes, there stands a human in white. He, wielding the sword of impermanence that exists nowhere and everywhere, directly confronts the golden annihilation. But immediately after, Zhejiang, where the golden light sweeps through, nothing remains. The person in white, Xiao Unyun, fails to mount any resistance against that will of destruction. However, the very being who sent forth that will of destruction sits within a world called Penglai Island with a face distorted like an evil spirit. Is it because Xiao Unyun perished too easily, or is it because, in that final moment, even as he faded away, he smiled? No one knows, but one thing is certain, Xiao Unyun is dead. Xiao Unyun is dead, and so the time of the outer sea continues to flow on. That is Xiao Unyun's 1006th return. Xiao Unyun's 10th cycle. There, Yang Ji-wang clutches her chest and collapses on the spot. Quote. Og, drip, drip. Yang Ji-wang, who had at first appeared as a giant god of light, is becoming closer to that of a human woman as time passes. She perceives her tears to be utterly alien, yet the sensation rising from her chest is something she can no longer endure. It hasn't been long since she shouted that she would never learn the heart. Yet, now, she feels shame at her own actions. She recalls herself frustrated and wondering when Yuan Li would die. She remembers how she sympathized with Xiao Unyun's pain as he reached treading heavens beyond the path and as the Yin Soul Ghost incantation turned into the Black Ghost Curse banner. And now, reflecting on herself as she sobs at Xiao Unyun bidding farewell to Buk Hyunghwa's final moments. In the depths of self-loathing and sorrow, Yang Ji-wang cannot stop her tears. Just what is this thing called the heart? Why does it hurt so much? At the same time, she realizes that her name itself is melting away. The fate and name of Ji-wang, given to her solely to hunt the mountain gods, is dissolving. She does not know why. But one thing is clear. The being once known as the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, once known as Yang Ji-wang, is now melting within Xiao Unyun's memories. Within the records of those hearts. Will she be reborn as a new existence, or merely be absorbed by Xiao Unyun and become a part of him? Even she does not know. But now she understands. I was ignorant, even though I am one of the divine ranks governing martial arts. I never knew what true martial arts were. The true pinnacle of the sword lies in the heart. What in the world have I been doing until now? She, who reached the pinnacle of sword techniques but never tried to understand the heart, now finally begins to grasp the power of the heart. And only now does she understand. The true ultimate of martial arts is giving and receiving the heart, to form connections. So that is the most terrifying thing in this world. Unable to take her eyes off the final moment between Xiao Unyun and Buk Hyunghwa. Feeling an ache in her chest she's never known before, she continues reading Xiao Unyun's memories. Even though she may forget her name entirely, and her existence might vanish if she keeps reading. She does not stop. She continues to learn about Xiao Unyun. Because she knows, this is the only way to reach the ultimate of martial arts she had half given up on until now. Reviving herself as a martial artist, she thus walks forward. Chapter 675, Eternal Regression. Kuririk, I die. At the same time, my mind and the surrounding environment seem to shift slightly, and I instantly return to life. This place is. Let us determine the true mountain god. Hyeon Mu disintegrates into chaos before my eyes, and from afar, a massive torrent of chaos boils up as a power I know well reveals itself once more. So the first day of the 1006th cycle is here. Splitting Emperor Splitting Heaven Li Di Li Tien. Annihilation Mie Advancement Jin Mu Wu. Once again, the golden wave crashes toward me. I understand the situation. After Ohai Seo just recently awakened to her fate, and the future king observed it. My regression point has become fixed to this very moment. I accelerate my consciousness and connect to Indra's net. But, astounding, even connected to Indra's net, I still can't avoid annihilation advancement Mu. The authority held by the Salt Sea Supreme Deity is the Castle Wall Heavenly Lord. The principle of the phenomena extinguishing mantra learned from the Salt Sea Supreme Deity. The power of the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea accumulated by the Great Mountain Supreme Deity. And the enlightenment of annihilation advancement Mie Jin seemingly obtained through dual cultivation with Hyeon Mu. All of those combined unfolded with the mantra of splitting heaven, which splits even the absolute into 7 pieces. That alone is inescapable, and an inevitable death. No matter where I flee, I can never escape. There isn't even a place to run to. I have no choice but to face it head on. But having just died from it, I know. There's far too little time. Even if I obtained enlightenment of marital pinnacle, I still need time to internalize and refine it before I can use it to resist. But this instantly unfolding simplified splitting heaven mantra. If I keep dying in front of annihilation advancement mu like this, no matter how many times I try, fully grasping the enlightenment of martial pinnacle will be difficult. This is troublesome. I frown and send a message to Ohio, who is blankly zoning out. Ohio, right now, the great mountain supreme deity is trying to kill us. Can't you use your authority to escape all the way to Mount Sumeru in one go or something? If not that, at least slowing down the time it takes for that authority to reach us would be great. Ohio seems slightly surprised by the will I transmit through Indra's net, but answers immediately. Impossible. My authority isn't that kind of power to begin with. Moreover, even if it was, the sheer force condensed by the great mountain supreme deity is so vast it'd crush my authority. More importantly, Ohio answers me coldly. Even if it were possible, I wouldn't use it for you. Single quote. Single quote. It seems Ohio isn't going to be of any help right now. Time is lacking. It may be the first day of the 1006th cycle, but the actual time I face the great mountain supreme deity directly is only a few seconds. Goo. I perceive the death that's right in front of my nose. I'm not afraid. Though it's suffocating just like during blood yin, there's clearly an exit even if it is distant, so I only need to aim for it and keep striving. The problem is the time for those efforts. This isn't like the simple star-shattering advancement. I can't finish it in just 1,000 cycles. This is the ultimate of martial arts. To manifest even a fragment of that power would take not 1,000, but 10,000 cycles. No, at this rate, with only a few seconds given each time, I'd need billions of cycles to have even the slightest chance of success. Quag. The power of annihilation advancement mu rips apart my impermanence sword and obliterates me. As I die, I think to myself. Good, to have even 1,000 chances to collide everything I've accumulated in martial arts against the splitting heaven mantra is, when I think about it again, a fine opportunity. That must be why this smile already lingers at the corner of my lips. But according to the words of the underworld, if I repeat regression another 1,000 times, even the supreme deities will begin to notice. Since Great Mountain is a special case among the supreme deities, even 900 cycles might be enough for him to realize the regression. In other words, at worst, I have around 800 regressions left. At best, about 1,000. I must reach martial pinnacle within that time. Can I do it? I assess myself with cold clarity. And I realize, I can't. With that realization, I am completely killed by the great mountain supreme deity's annihilation advancement mu. That is my 1007th return. 1007th cycle. Kuriric. Coming back to life again in a fleeting instant, I continue my thoughts. This isn't just a matter of confidence. This is, as the underworld said, a matter of statistics. My talent, my comprehension, and my willpower, no one knows them better than I do. Though I always say the wrong things and every plan I make ends up falling apart, at least when it comes to matters regarding myself, I know myself well enough to say this. If I keep repeating death in this state, even after 1,000 cycles, it'll only amount to a few hours of actual time. I can't draw out even a fragment of martial pinnacle in that time. In the end, what I need is time. Even if I accelerate to Araya consciousness and step onto Indra's net, the speed of that annihilation advancement mu stays the same. To dodge or block that, I need to reach at least the speed of undying like Hyeon mu or Kim Young-hoon. Teeing, I move the principles of Indra's net and send messages to those connected with me. Particularly to the underworld and the heavenly venerable of time. Please help me. At this rate, the entire world will be trapped inside this timeline. Each of the heavenly venerables replies immediately. If I use the power I've accumulated or my wheel, I could save you, but those are powers that must not be drawn or wielded. As you've proven before me, withstand it with your own strength. Did I not tell you to die back then? Even when I offered you mercy, you kicked it away yourself and now you cause this mess. If there had only been even half a gak before meeting the great mountain supreme deity, I could have intervened, but now it's too late. It is impossible. It'd be faster to just go through regression about 1,000 times, let the great mountain supreme deity perceive the regressions, and then persuade them to our side. The underworld refuses, saying she must conserve her strength, and the heavenly venerable of time scolds me and suggests that I persuade the great mountain supreme deity to join our side instead. I send a message to the Sal Tree heavenly venerable as well. O Sal Tree great king, I beg of you, please help me. And the Sal tree heavenly venerable replies with a response full of meaning, yet still declines. You are asking me to interfere in a battle between the disciples of Salt Sea while in the Salt Sea. If it were the inner sea, perhaps, but to go against a disciple of the Salt Sea within the Salt Sea is a foolish matter. Even without using the corpse mountain blood sea in that place, they are stronger than us with our descended Gandhara. Is there something in the outer sea that allows Master's power to be drawn out well? Is it because of help from Punglai Island? I'm not sure, but what is certain is that while the great mountain supreme deity can harness the power of the outer sea well, I cannot. To search for a way to harness Master's power while dying 1,000 times and simultaneously challenging martial pinnacle, that's a stupid act. Right now, I must focus on one thing. I recognize that there is no one who can help me in this situation and compose myself. Flash. In that case, what I can do now is refine myself and try everything I possibly can. That is the best optimal attitude I can take in the current situation. Pot. With that final thought, I die again. That is my 1008th return. What I possess. 1008th cycle. Immediately upon regression, I summon the pure white. 3 great ultimates and overlay the wheel upon it. And I understand. Wu Wang. How noble. It feels as though the heavenly venerable of the underworld is gazing down at me from behind. That is how noble a mantra the wheel appearing behind me is. It still looks down on me, refusing to completely permit itself. It seems to say that I am still not fully qualified. But it's different from before. Whereas before, I had no qualification whatsoever, now I am not fully qualified, meaning, I am to some degree. The wheel permits itself to my will to some extent. Then let's unfold it. Behind the wheel, a white circle appears. It is the flawless mantra that allows me to unfold the power of the God of Gods. And in front of me emerges the attraction force of the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Wheel, phenomena extinguishing mantra, flawless mantra, impermanence sword, every mantra I can wield, this time, to the very limit. An overwhelming power explodes throughout my entire body, and I feel that now I could even properly exchange blows with Bong Myong. Right now, I am practically equivalent to a supreme deity. All principles feel as though they rest within my grasp. If it's this state, I draw out the surging power and raise the impermanence sword. Flash, and then, I am obliterated by annihilation advancement mu. That is my 1009th return. 1009th cycle. So, strength alone is not enough. But it is not meaningless. Unlike the time of blood yin, I coldly analyze the situation without a fragmented mind. There's no time to waste. I must quickly find the answer. I've already died several times and drawn several conclusions. Just power alone, drawn from mantras, is not enough. What's needed is to maximize the abilities of the mantras. To do that, it is at that moment. Among the mantras, I suddenly realize there is a power I have not drawn out yet. Single quote. Come to think of it, the wheel, the phenomena extinguishing mantra, the flawless mantra, the impermanence sword, these are not the end of the mantras I possess. I know of one more mantra. No, rather than saying I know it, it's more accurate to say it's embedded in my soul. Radiance mantra. I engrave in my mind the authority of the radiance mantra that I've recently discovered. The radiance mantra is the authority to travel through space-time and bring regression into reality. And through countless regressions, it is a mantra that allows me to draw out the result I desire. And the regression point fixed by the radiance mantra is the moment when the future king observes both an ender awakening to their fate and me. Because once the future king has observed it, it becomes meaningless to regress to a past beyond that point. Single quote. Single quote. I float the pure white 3 great ultimates and the wheel behind my back. And I think, it's only that it's meaningless. Then, isn't it still possible to regress to a point even further in the past? Single quote. This is it, I can tell instinctively. No, this is the instinct of my mind that's entangled with Indra's net. This is unmistakably the truth. The way to gain time is the radiance mantra. If I can become proficient in the radiance mantra and regress to a time before the fixed regression point, I'll have enough time to embody the enlightenment that reaches martial pinnacle. Even if I can change nothing in the past, I can accept that, because even if I can't change anything, I can still further repentantly enlighten myself. Only my consciousness will be the present me. It's fine even if I can't lift a single finger. I cry out internally, toward the foundation of regression embedded deep in my soul. Please, I want to return to an even earlier point in the past. Turn back time, oh radiance mantra. And then, nothing happens. But it doesn't matter. If you won't listen to me, then I'll make you listen. Kuririk, the heavenly venerable of the underworld once said this. The wheel, under the premise that regression is perceived, is a superior form of regression. She definitely said so, and if that's the case, I can now, in theory, suppress the radiance mantra through the wheel. Keying. As I begin turning the wheel, I start to stimulate the radiance mantra. O radiance mantra, hear me, I am your master. So, regress me, to before O high Seo's hatred. Kijijijijik. In that instant, the wheel grinds and an overwhelming frictional sound bursts forth from deep within my soul. With a headache that feels like my head is cracking open, I am struck by annihilation advancement mu and I, bursting apart between the clash of the two mantras. Before my eyes, I see the forms of Wheel of Starlight and Black Snake biting its tail. They are likely the forms of the wheel and the radiance mantra, respectively. The two circles spin in reverse directions and crash into one another, and I, amidst the two colliding circles, reach my hand toward the black snake biting its tail. Soon, the form of pure white three great ultimates floating behind me pours its strength into the form of black snake biting its tail, and begins to control it. The wheel and I, combining our strength, are subduing the radiance mantra. Please, let it succeed. Kijijijijik, kijijijijik, kijijijijijik, Pyong. At the final moment, an overwhelming radiance engulfs my vision, and I lose consciousness as I am swallowed by that radiance. Hiss, hiss hiss hiss, hiss hiss. As I lose consciousness, I hear the hissing of countless snakes. That is my 1010th return. Hiss, hiss 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 hiss. Quote. I regain awareness. Quote. Where is this? It is then. Slop. Someone smacks me hard across the face. Deputy CO, you son of a bitch, drive the car properly. It's Jaeon Myung-hoon. What kind of joke is this now? Annoyed at the guy who can't grasp the situation, I swing my finger to flick Jaeon Myung-hoon's forehead. Wong. Ascension path is split in half, the entire continent of the head realm is cleaved apart, and the world is destroyed. Quote. Huh. I hurriedly avert my gaze from the sky and stare blankly at the ground with a dumbfounded expression. Quote. Huh. Hua. It's when I'm so flustered, I can't even form words. Yin Yang. Slop. Deputy CO, you son of a bitch, drive the car properly. I am back to just before. No, more precisely, the head realm has nullified the anomaly that just occurred. This is. I realize the situation I'm now in. Through the wheel, I've subdued the radiance mantra. And, I have returned to the very first regression point. Hiss 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 hiss. The sword spear heavenly lord, Yang Ji Wong, frowns at the hissing of snakes near her ear. Just now, what was that? For some reason, it feels like someone other than her has entered the memory of Co Eun she is reading. Only the radiant supreme deity can access the celestial lord incense burning spell. Could it be another of the Radiance 8 immortals has entered? Did they come to save me? Confusion flickers in Yang Ji Wong's eyes. Single quote. If I meet another of the Radiance 8 immortals, how should I face them?